And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of the Penscast recap show. Tonight being January 11th, 2024, the Penguins taking on the Vancouver Canucks at PPG Paints Arena. And it was a loss for the Penguins in overtime, but it was the Sidney Crosby show. We will get into all the specifics here in a bit. But before, as always, we will throw it over to Snail for his initial thoughts on the Penguins and the Canucks, which ended in a 4-3 Canucks victory in overtime.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Robbie, but I was so excited for this game tonight. Vancouver's a wagon right now with former Penguins assistant coach Rick Tocchet, notable Phil Kessel whisperer, great bench boss, hell of a Penguin when he played back in the '90s, hell of a player overall. So I was fired up for this game. I was curious to see how the Penguins stacked up against the Vancouver Canucks, who have been rolling this season. Um, a younger team with a bunch of stars and a couple superstars that Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson are money. So yeah, super pumped up for this game, and it did not disappoint. We were just talking before we hopped on here that it was an exciting game. It had energy, it had scoring, skill was on display. The grit and the grinding was on display. So all over a great hockey game. I'm hyped they pushed it to overtime to at least get a point out of that. It was the Sidney Crosby show. His will and determination was on display, like it usually is, like it has been all season. So Sid doing Sid things. I thought there was a lot of fun stuff that happened in the game tonight. So let's get to the scoring.
Yeah, you said it exactly right here. And the scoring started off. It did not start off well for the Penguins. The Canucks get two goals in the first 6.5 minutes here, and they both come off the stick of Brock Besser at 5:44 is his first, his 26th of the year from Elias Pettersson and JT Miller, and it's 1-0 Canucks early in the first, and then uh, just about 45 seconds later, Besser gets his 27th of the year. This one on the power play. Again, it's Miller and Pettersson with the assist, and it's 2-0 in a flash. But the Penguins stop the bleeding momentarily and long enough to get themselves back into the game at 16:20. It is Marcus Pettersson getting his first of the year on a terrific play by Jansen Harkins to kind of keep with it and keep the puck alive in the zone. Pettersson rings one past Thatcher Demko, and it's 2-1. And you think maybe the Penguins can get out of the first period just down one. But Elias Pettersson um, continues his big night, his third point in the period. This one is a goal at 17:31 with a assist from Philip Hronik, and JT Miller also with an assist, his third of the first period as well. And it's 3-0 after one. And this is where the Sidney Crosby show takes over in this hockey game. 6:05 in the second period, Crosby gets his 23rd of the year from Jake Gensel. Marcus Pettersson on the assist, so a 2-point night for Pettersson as well. It's 3-2, and that's how it would remain after two periods. And then it looked like the Penguins, they had some chances in the third period to get the score even on the power play, which failed a couple times tonight. Demko absolutely robbed Crosby with an incredible toe save to keep the Canucks in front. But Crosby, as he's done so much, he would simply not be denied in this contest. With just 29 seconds left at 19:31 in the third period with the goalie pulled, Crosby finally gets one past Demko for his second of the evening, 24th of the year. Carlson Letang on the assist. It's 3-3. The building's rocking. They get a point. They go to overtime. You think maybe they can use that momentum to steal a second point, but they cannot. The star of the night for the Canucks, Elias Pettersson, gets his second goal of the evening. This one, the game winner to make it 4-3. It's unassisted. Well, no, it will be. It did come on an outlet pass. He had a breakaway in overtime and squeaked it by Jari. And the Canucks leave Pittsburgh a 4-3 victory in overtime. So the Penguins do get a point. But before we talk about maybe the bad of the night, just the Sidney Crosby show was in full force tonight, and there's really no more adjectives at this point. He's Sidney Crosby.
Yes, he cannot be stopped. The teams are trying their best to slow down the 36-year-old veteran, but he continues to show that his will and determination, that grit that he's possessed since he was a wee one, it's on display every night. He's bound and determined to do all he can to bring pull this team uh, into the playoffs if he needs to. I think that uh, Gino's looked great. Letang and Carlson are looking. I'm starting to see that it maybe can work out here with both of those alpha dogs on the back end. But it's all Sid. I mean, he's going to be in the heart conversation. I don't know if he's going to have the points or the goals to really pull away with it, but that's neither here nor there. In his 36-year-old season, he's showing why he's a top 5 player all time. Um, and as Penguins fans, and I think hockey enjoyers all over the country, all over the world, have to be enjoying what they're seeing out of Sid.
I absolutely agree with that as well. Just a a freak show performance. We've seen it. It feels like we see it all the time from Sid. He is just an absolute animal. Tonight, it just felt like after he got that first goal, it it was coming. Whether or not he got that second goal remained to be seen, and it looked like he wasn't going to. After Demko robbed him, I really thought that was going to be pretty much the game. I really thought that was the golden chance. They couldn't convert on a couple power plays, and you really think that okay, 3-2, they fought back, but you can't get in an early hole like that. The power play again, you feel like the power play cost them again. But Crosby just, I mean, we've seen it so many times, but each time it still feels like it makes your jaw drop. And he comes out tonight and just takes over in that third period, gets that game tying goal with the uh, extra attacker, and gets the Penguins a win, or I mean a point, at least at basically by himself. And uh, yeah, you would like 2 points, but again, the Canucks are a very good hockey team. So you take the point and you turn your attention to Saturday. But at this point, you're just racking up points, and the Penguins are getting points for the most part ever since right before Christmas when they went on a little winning streak. And again, it's Crosby, the Crosby show. He's like you said. I think if the Penguins make the playoffs, he's going to have to be in the Hart conversation. Um, I think it'll come down to whatever McDavid can drag Edmonton to the rest of this regular season. There's some players on this Canucks team that are going to be in the conversation as well. I don't know if you look around the league, I don't know if anybody is really pulling away in this race, and that's kind of what I think Crosby needs at this stage. He needs a pretty level playing field. He's on pace for 50 goals. I think if he gets 50 and the Penguins make the playoffs, there's a real shot that we're talking about another Hart Trophy at the age of 36, which would just be an incredible feat.
It would be incredible, and I feel like it's there's been some bubbling lately, some chatter, some convo that maybe Sid's got one more monster year left in him, and I feel like this is if that is true, this is probably the year. Um, I understand that like the points and goals do dictate quite a bit for the heart conversation, but I think for what Sid means to this team right now, like this, he has to be in. He has to already be. There has to be votes going his way for what he's meant to the Penguins. Like I think the big if is if they make the playoffs, because if they can get to the playoffs on the back of Sid, whether he's top 5 in goals or points or whatever, I almost think that doesn't matter as much because of just the heart, what he meant to the team. He's gonna get votes.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to get votes one way or another, I think. Um, Especially if the Penguins do make the play. I think if they make the playoffs, you can pencil him as one of the top 3 finalists.
Agreed.
I just don't see because I mean if you look at all like the national media is kind of enamored with Sidney Crosby right now with what he's doing at this age, and again you kind of keep waiting for the slowdown to hit, and it just doesn't happen. And I think that as long as this keeps going, the longer it keeps going, the more votes he's going to garner. And if he's there at the end, I think he's going to have a very good shot at winning um, this the award, and which would be again at 36 would be just absolutely phenomenal. But
It'd be awesome.
yeah, half a season to go until that point. The Penguins hit the half season, the exact halfway pull on Saturday. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But the one downside tonight, again, power play. It just went back to struggling. 0 for 4 tonight. Two chances in the third period to tie the game, and they couldn't do it. The penalty kill is 1 for 2. So the power play goal you give up is really a big difference maker in this game. But just again, the power play for the Penguins just could not find an answer. And again, if you convert on even one of them, it could change the entire game. In the end, again just the same old, same old. It feels like we kind of reverted back to power play bad.
Yeah, power play's struggling again, which it sucks because the body language I'm seeing on the ice and just the eye test, especially on that first unit with Sid Carlson and Gino, there's some urgency I've noticed on the power play. They're really snapping it around. Carlson's rifling the puck, whether it's a pass or around the boards. I can just notice that there's some tenacity within the power play, which was lacking when they were going through their massive slump. So it's a little bit different. Let's hope that it's not 20 or 30 games they go before they score another one. Let's hope that they resume on Saturday and against Carolina, I believe. And let's hope that, waste no time. Draw a penalty, get on the power play, and make quick work of it. And let's not let this turn into a festering wound.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that, again, people will turn to Jari. Gave up 4 goals tonight. I mean, Elias Pettersson on a breakaway is kind of unfair. Um, but I think he really, or sorry, Nedeljkovic gets the start. Jari comes in. Sorry, that was my bad there. He comes back, and you have to like what you see out of Jari tonight. Nedeljkovic, not a great start.
Yeah,
But
why
Jari,
did they pull him because it was like 3 goals on 8 shots?
yeah, he gave up 3 goals on 9 shots.
Nine
I would
shots.
assume that it was just. I mean, they waited to the end of the period. Um, I'm assuming it's just one of those things where, again, I don't think the Penguins have a clear cut number one, so I don't think that Sullivan is at all worried about um, making that move. And they are off on Friday, so they do have an off day. And I think Jari was starting on Saturday anyway. I think that's where he's going because, again, the Penguins don't have a true defined number one right now. So I really don't think he had too much hesitation making that move. And he goes to Jari, and really, I mean, Jari was good. I mean, the overtime goal is what it is. You have one of the premier goal scorers in the NHL bearing down on you. Um, that's going to happen. But I mean, he doesn't. He kept them in it for 40 minutes to make sure that that lead stayed at, or that deficit stayed at just 2 goals, and then 1 goal all the way until Crosby could tie it. So I mean, props to Jari for coming in cold and kind of holding the fort and keeping the Pens in the game.
Yeah, I was shocked to see Jari in net after that first period, and then when I looked at I guess I was like, well, yeah, they didn't really have that many shots on goal, and it's 3-1, so
Yeah,
not super shocked there. And I think that I was high on Ned the past couple of weeks, saying, this guy's kind of the quieter goaltender, the steady Eddie out of the two. Although Jari can be an all-star one week and he can have two shutouts back to back, but then he can lay a complete egg one game. He's kind of a streaky goaltender at times in general. I think this is just a sign of the Penguins are a true blue goalie tandem. They get it done together in conjunction with each other. It's not a 1A or a 1B. I think it's both two very capable, I would say slightly above average goaltenders. And whoever isn't going, the other one, it's on their shoulders. So it's working for them right now. I mean, they didn't pull out the win. They're like you said, if they're the special teams, uh, the power play was a little bit more effective than 0 for 4. We're looking at a
yeah.
totally different outcome. Uh, but hey, the goaltending I think it's in a decent place right now, despite the overtime loss on a breakaway from Elias Pettersson.
Yeah, and the goal again. You're gonna have goalie nights like that, regardless of who the number one is or how good your number one is. It just happens. You shrug it off. You get, thankfully, you have a good um, guy in reserve ready to go, and that's what Jari did tonight. And hey, helped him steal a point. That's really the silver lining on all of this. So
Yeah, I saw. Speaking of goaltenders, I saw Joel Blomqvist, AHL All Star.
yes, Joe Blomqvist is an AHL All Star, which is a very good sign
It is.
for the Penguins organization. There were some. This is his first year, his first full season on North American ice, so that shows that he's at least adapting to the pro game over this side of the Atlantic, and you have to like that. Anytime Wilkes-Barre putting together a pretty decent season down there, and Joe Blomqvist gets the recognition there. So let's hope that that AHL All Star can turn into an NHL All Star here a couple years down the road. But definitely still some more development time coming for Blomqvist, but you have to like that in his first full season as a North American hockey player. So congrats to Blomqvist on that, and yeah, let's hope that good play keeps up in the second half of their season as well.
Yeah.
You certainly hope that we don't have to see him at all this season. At worst, we've already seen Magnus Hellberg, so let's just hope that
Who
is.
played
Uh,
pretty good.
he did. He did play good. There's no doubt about that. That just shows you that that depth is there. That one will allow the Penguins to kind of insulate themselves from an injury, and also allows Blomqvist to worry about his development down um, on the farm rather than have to worry about maybe coming up or bouncing back and forth. He can focus on his game down there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely a bonus. Very good work by Kyle Dubas there. I don't think you can really complain too much about that.
Yeah, let's just hope Joel can marinate as long as he needs. Let's.
Yes.
There's no need to rush him. Jari and Nedeljkovic are not old by any means. Like
No, yeah. I mean,
they're not over the hill.
Nedeljkovic is the elder statesman of this entire group. Uh,
Is he?
by a few, I'm pretty sure Nedeljkovic is.
He's older than Jari. I don't. That just for some reason that surprises me because I feel like
Nedeljkovic is 28. Oh, him and Jari are the same age. Sorry, I
they're
thought
the
Jari
same
was.
age.
Yeah, I thought Jari was. Yeah, both born in. Actually, Jari's a couple weeks older, so roughly the same age. Yeah, not too much age difference there, but um, Alex Adel. Yeah, so these are actually the two older statesmen of the Penguins here, and um, yeah, you like what they're giving you so far. That allows your younger goaltender to develop, and um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what we like.
Another thing that I wanted to bring up quickly. Pretty physical game tonight.
Yeah.
Vancouver plays. They kind of embody Talkit. They've got a lot of players. That Dakota Joshua, Sam Lafferty, JT Miller is a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah.
He's a horse's ass out there. Um, I loved what I was seeing out of Sid going after Sid and Gino and Letang going after Quinn Hughes. Not because he did anything wrong. JT Miller and some of the other guys were giving the business to Jari and not Jari to it was like I think you saw JT going after Letang there, and I love that they're just like you're gonna go after like we're the stars on this team. You're gonna go after us. We're gonna go after your star. We're gonna
Yeah.
go after the Quinn Hughes who can't really defend himself. He's a water bug out there, and eye for an eye. I love that. But that physicality did actually end up taking out Riley Smith. I believe it was in the first period or maybe the beginning of the second period. It was early in the game.
Yeah, it was within the first half of the game. Yeah.
Within the first half of the game, that Zadorov, who's 6'5", 250 pounds, trucked him into the. Dude, it wasn't even like an open ice hit or anything. Those that are listening and saw know exactly what I'm talking about. Just ran him into the boards. It wasn't a dirty hit or illegal hit, just a heavy hit, and
Yeah.
it looked like Riley Smith was grabbing his wrist and skated off, tried to shake it off, and then he went down the tunnel, and he's being evaluated. So the depth continuing to be tested, the depth that Dubas acquired, and we hope that it's a quick return. I saw a lot of things on Twitter flying around, like if it does miss because he's missing the rest of the game, will anyone notice? He's invisible. He hasn't scored since October. Just weird shit like that. And I'm like, I mean, he's in a rut right now, but he's not he's a very serviceable player still. I didn't quite understand where all of that hate was coming from regarding Riley Smith. He's your team is better with him in the lineup than without him, even if he's not scoring like a top six winger. Uh, he kills penalties. Anyways, I'll get off of that. But unfortunate to see him go down the tunnel, and it'll be interesting with the trade deadline. About what is it, like a month and a half away?
Roughly, yeah.
January, February, March. Yeah, a month and a half away. Hopefully, it's nothing long term. And yeah, I don't know. Did you have any thoughts on Riley Smith getting hit and leaving the game early, and what that kind of means going forward for Saturday?
Yeah, I guess Sullivan said he's being evaluated for an upper body injury, so that will obviously all be a wait and see uh, type situation there. I would not surprise me if we don't see him Saturday or maybe even Monday. The Penguins do have the schedule does lighten up a little bit here in the second half of the month after Monday. The Penguins will play um, on Saturday. They travel to Carolina, and then Seattle comes to town on Monday, and then the Penguins only have 4 games the rest of the month before heading into some off time. So, yeah, I mean, it would not surprise me if we don't see him until maybe next weekend. But again, you never know what the injury is. Sometimes it's just precaution to keep him out, but you don't like losing anybody outside that top six, whether or not they're having a great season or not. So I'd rather see Riley Smith in the lineup than out.
Agreed. I think that it's we'll probably see Drew O'Connor slide up into that
Yeah,
top six role. I trust him on Gino's line. Garrett and I were actually talking earlier on the mailbag that um, that Drew O'Connor and Gino. I think the question got asked, and it was like, should Drew O'Connor be jumping up in onto Sid's line every once in a while? And my argument was that no, not really, considering. If anything, I would put Drew O'Connor on Gino's line because we've seen them actually connect for some sick goals this season. Seem to have a little bit of chemistry, and I was saying that essentially Gino's the creative one on that line, and all's Drew O'Connor has to be is competent with his north south game, and Drew's really been finding what works for him in the NHL is being a net front guy and going to the net and banging in greasy rebounds and and hounding the puck, being a puck retriever type of guy. And so maybe we'll see. Anyways, if Riley Smith is out long term, I think it's safe to say that the depth will be tested. But I think we got some competent pieces that we could slide up further in the lineup, wouldn't you say? I thought Jansen Harkins
yeah.
looked great tonight too.
Yeah, Harkins had a great the effort on that Patterson goal was exactly the kind of effort you want out of about anybody in your lineup, regardless of where they're playing. So Harkins has actually been turning heads since his stint down in the AHL, and yeah, he's been very very good for the Penguins um, since his second call up here. So let's hope that that keeps up going forward.
I saw he's an American. He's from Ohio. I thought he was
Yeah, very. Yeah, that's kind of I probably would have pegged that as like a Finn, but I mean,
Jansen Harkins.
yeah,
I thought he was Canadian or something for sure, and I thought maybe he even looked a little European, maybe. But he's from Cleveland, Ohio. I heard a funny thing on the telecast tonight that he's been on a little bit of a roll, playing better, got some points, and he's been having his dad drive him to the game because it's been like a superstition, good luck thing. And now his dad's making him pasta sauce from when he was a kid, and whatever's working, man. He had he that
yeah,
the doggedness on the puck and then setting up Pedersen for his first goal of the season tonight. That was some good stuff to see.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, so the Penguins off on Friday. They head back to action on Saturday. They will travel south to Raleigh for a showdown with the Hurricanes. That game's at 7 o'clock. And then a Martin Luther King Day game on the 15th, and they're back home. Seattle is in town, so Snail's neck of the woods is coming to Western Pennsylvania for a night. And just check this: this is a 6 p.m. Eastern time start, so
I
it's an
saw
hour
that, so
earlier.
3.
Yeah, it's an hour earlier than normal. So Just check or keep an eye out for that. But other than that, I got nothing left. Snail, how about you?
Yeah, one more quick thing. It is quick. I saw Bugsy Malone on the telecast tonight in between in the intermissions, and I heard he's coming back on Saturday as well. And I just think that that's awesome. You got to get more of these former Penguin character type guys. We've got Army consistently on the intermission, not on the intermissions. I don't know exactly what you is he color commentator? Is that what it's called? Colby
Color
Armstrong.
is like the guy. Yeah, yes, Colby's a color commentator. Yes.
I love that, and I love that they brought in Bugsy for a little test run. He's so goofy and funny. Waiting to see when they get that Kennedy, Tyler Kennedy, him or God, bringing back Max Talbot's been around the team a little bit on
Yep.
and off throughout the years. We'll see him every once in a while. Matt Cook's busy coaching an East Coast Hockey League team, so probably not
Yes.
him anytime soon. But God, I'm all for it, man. Bring back some of these character guys from past teams. I think it would be awesome to get like Scuderi back, Rob Scuderi back on, or I don't know, Mark Eaton, just some goofball from back in the day. I love what the Penguins are doing with that. Hopefully they keep that rolling more and more next year.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It definitely helps to have voices like that in your locker room on top of the experience the Penguins already have. So, yeah,
Yep,
we'll see how much that keeps up here the rest of the season here. But Snell, if you're done, that's
I'm
all I
done.
got for tonight. Penguins do come back. They steal a point from the Canucks after trailing pretty much all night. Sidney Crosby scores twice. Elias Pettersson, a complete animal for the Canucks tonight, recording 4 points, 2 goals, 2 assists, including the overtime game winner. Penguins get a point in the 4-3 loss. Back in action Saturday at 7 o'clock against the Carolina Hurricanes in Raleigh. We will talk to you later this week.